Have you ever felt an emotion so vivid, a fear so specific, or a skill so effortless that it seemed to come from somewhere beyond this lifetime? Or met someone for the first time and sensed a connection that defied logic? Perhaps you've longed for a place you've never visited, yet it feels like home. These experiences may not be random. They could be subtle echoes of a life your soul has already known. In this journey, we won't speak of reincarnation as doctrine, but as a mysterious imprint left on the soul, a memory that whispers through the layers of time. The choices, joys, and wounds of your past incarnations don't vanish. They ripple into the present, shaping who you are today. In this video, we'll explore 9 powerful signs that suggest you've lived before. From uncanny déjà vu and sudden untrained abilities to unexplainable phobias and deep emotional sensitivity, each of these may be a clue to your spiritual past. This isn't about belief, it's about recognition. Because your soul remembers, and once you begin to listen, the pieces of your life may begin to fall into place in a way they never have before. The concept of reincarnation is far older than modern religion or philosophy. It traces back to the earliest civilizations, to the sacred hymns of the Indian Vedas and the mystic passages of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. In Indian tradition, reincarnation forms the very core of spiritual understanding. The soul is seen as eternal, only the body changes, like a garment worn briefly before being cast aside. In the teachings of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, human life is a cycle: birth, death, rebirth, repeated again and again until the soul sheds its illusions and awakens to its true, liberated nature. Yet this idea wasn't confined to the East. In the West, too, the belief in past lives once moved quietly beneath the surface. The Pythagoreans saw the soul's journey as a cosmic rhythm. Gnostics and Hermeticists spoke of soul ascension. Medieval mystics whispered of spiritual return, while Renaissance philosophers contemplated memory beyond a single life. Even early Christian teachings once included echoes of reincarnation, until the idea was later declared heresy and buried under dogma. But buried doesn't mean dead. The idea survived, in secret texts, in mystical traditions, in the quiet certainty of those who felt life was not an ending, but a pause in the soul's endless story. By the 20th century, reincarnation found new pathways into the Western mind. Through the lens of psychology, the revelations of hypnosis, the study of near-death experiences, and the personal testimonies of those who glimpsed something outside the boundaries of reason. Once again, the soul began to speak, and this time, it asked to be remembered. Reincarnation is more than the soul stepping into a new body. It is a continuous unfolding of consciousness, where each lifetime serves as a chapter in a vast, self-authored book. But unlike ordinary memories, the echoes of previous lives rarely appear as clear recollections. Instead, they speak through the language of the subconscious. Powerful emotional reactions with no clear origin, unexplainable fears, sudden bursts of talent, or an intense, irrational bond with a place or person you've never truly known. These are what mystics and modern thinkers call karmic imprints, energetic and psychological impressions that travel with the soul from one incarnation to the next. Some arrive as unresolved lessons. Others come as innate gifts. All are meaningful. In the modern world, science has cautiously begun to explore these mysteries. Pioneering researchers like Dr. Ian Stevenson and Dr. Jim Tucker have documented hundreds of cases in which young children recall past lives in extraordinary detail, often with historical accuracy that defies coincidence. And in regression therapy, Adults have described vivid scenes from other eras, speaking of them not as stories, but as memories, imprinted deep within. These phenomena suggest one profound truth: the soul remembers, not through logic or language, but through sensation, symbol, and synchronicity. When we learn to attune ourselves to this inner voice, the signs begin to emerge, and we start to realize we've walked this earth before. First sign: déjà vu. Have you ever stepped into a place for the very first time, only to feel like you've been there 100 times before? Or spoken to a stranger and sensed, with eerie certainty, that you were simply continuing a conversation begun long ago? That strange familiarity, felt by millions across the world, is known as déjà vu. Science often chalks it up to a misfiring in the brain, a glitch in memory processing. But through the lens of reincarnation, déjà vu becomes something far deeper, a flicker of the soul's memory. A moment when a past life echoes into the present. Many spiritual researchers believe these experiences are not illusions, but fragments of previous incarnations reawakening. The soul, always alert to resonance, may respond to a scent in the air, the tone of a voice, a familiar shape in the landscape, even a glance. These subtle vibrations stir something ancient within us, igniting recognition beyond explanation. Déjà vu is especially common during childhood and adolescence, when the soul's memories are still close to the surface and the ego has not yet sealed them away. At times, these sensations are brief and elusive, but other times, they arrive with overwhelming power, bringing chills, tears, or an unshakable feeling of uncanny knowing. If déjà vu has been with you since your earliest years and returns time and again without reason, it may not be a trick of the mind. It may be your soul whispering, "You've been here before." Second sign: a deep, unexplained connection to a specific era or culture. There are moments when a person feels an intense, unshakable pull toward a time or civilization they've never studied, never visited, and seemingly have no ties to. It might be the silent mysticism of ancient Egypt, the disciplined grace of feudal Japan, the haunting romance of medieval Europe, or the sacred pulse of pre-Columbian America. It's more than curiosity, it's an emotional gravity. People describe it as a haunting familiarity, a sense that they once walked those streets, breathed that air, spoke that language. They're drawn to certain art, music, clothing, rituals, elements that resonate not like new discoveries, but like memories rediscovered. In the context of reincarnation, this deep affinity is believed to be a reflection of soul memory, vibrational echoes from past lives stored in the subtle layers of consciousness. These connections often reveal themselves early in life. A child may suddenly speak words in a language they've never heard, or draw places and scenes with uncanny detail. Others grow up with an unshakable sense that they don't belong in the present, but to another place in time. For them, that culture doesn't feel foreign. It feels like home, not imagined, but remembered. If you've ever felt that magnetic bond to a civilization or historical period for no logical reason, it may be more than fascination. It may be the soul, tracing its own forgotten footprints across the ages, reminding you of where you've already been. Third sign: fears. Everyone experiences fear, but some are so specific and unexplainable, they seem to come from somewhere beyond this lifetime. A person may have an overwhelming fear of deep water, despite never having had a drowning experience, or feel panic around fire, heights, certain animals, or even particular sounds without any trauma in their current life to justify it. These fears often appear early in childhood and remain stubbornly present into adulthood, unaffected by reason or reassurance. While psychology may classify them as irrational phobias, the perspective of reincarnation offers a different explanation. These may be lingering impressions of past life trauma. A soul that once endured a violent or fearful death may carry the energetic imprint of that event into the next incarnation. The conscious mind might not recall what happened, but the body and subconscious do, and they respond accordingly. In some cases, people who explore past life regression or enter deep meditative states report vivid memories of suffering, death, or terror that correspond exactly to their current fears. And when they connect the two, those fears often lessen, as if the soul has finally acknowledged and released what it had silently carried. If you have persistent, unexplainable fears that have followed you without cause, they may not be flaws in your mind. They may be memories of a pain your soul once endured. And this life may be your chance to face it, understand it, and finally let it go. Fourth sign: innate talents and knowledge. There are moments when a child, barely able to speak in full sentences, sits at a piano and plays with the grace and complexity of a seasoned musician. Or when a teenager begins to sketch, paint, or write with a level of mastery far beyond their years. Some people grasp foreign languages, scientific theories, or intricate systems almost instantly, as if they're remembering, not learning. While we often call these abilities natural gifts or genius, the theory of reincarnation suggests a deeper explanation. These may be skills carried over from previous lifetimes. A soul that once lived as an artist, musician, inventor, or scholar doesn't forget. It simply stores those patterns in its energetic imprint. And when the conditions are right, those impressions rise to the surface once again. These talents tend to shine brightest when they align with the soul's current purpose. In fact, it's often through these abilities that people begin to feel a calling, a sense of meaning, as if life itself is nudging them towards something they were born to do. If you've ever discovered an unexpected ease in a skill you never trained for, if something inside you just knows how to do it, this may not be a gift at all. It may be a memory, a continuation of work begun long ago, now reawakened to be carried forward in this life. Fifth sign: wisdom and maturity beyond age. Some children speak with a gravity that stops adults in their tracks. They ask profound questions, offer insights far beyond their years, and seem to carry a calm, steady presence that feels ancient. Others, even as teenagers, move through life with quiet introspection, preferring solitude over noise, reflection over distraction. These are often called old souls, not because of intelligence or upbringing, but because of something deeper. A sense of lived experience that transcends their current age. They show empathy without being taught, grasp the complexities of human emotion instinctively, and hold philosophical views most adults haven't yet considered. In the framework of reincarnation, this isn't accidental. These are souls that have walked the earth many times before, having already faced the joys and sorrows, trials and awakenings that life offers. They don't begin at zero. They continue from where they last left off. That inner knowing, that emotional depth, is memory carried through time. If you've ever felt far older than your physical years, if you've pondered life's deeper meaning since childhood, while others were still content with surface things, it may be because your soul remembers. What seems like wisdom beyond your age may not be something you're learning now. It may be the continuation of a journey you've already walked. Sixth sign: instant connection with strangers. There are moments when you meet someone for the very first time and something stirs deep within you. A pull, a familiarity, an unspoken bond that forms instantly. You may feel an overwhelming sense of trust, comfort, or emotional closeness that defies explanation. It's as if you're not meeting them, but remembering them. On the other hand, you might feel a wave of unease, a sudden wall of resistance, or even fear, despite no rational reason. In the context of reincarnation, these encounters are known as karmic connections. They suggest that your soul and theirs have met before, possibly many times, perhaps as lovers, siblings, friends, mentors, or even adversaries. Souls often travel in groups, reincarnating together across lifetimes to continue unresolved journeys, balance old debts, or complete lessons left unfinished. These meetings can be brief or lifelong, harmonious or challenging, but they're never random. When such a person enters your life, it feels significant, as if fate is reactivating a thread that began long ago. That's why some relationships feel predestined, impossibly intense, or oddly familiar. Because in truth, they didn't start in this lifetime. If you've ever felt unexplainable closeness or powerful resistance towards someone new, it may be your soul recognizing an old story beginning once again. Seventh sign: dreams that feel like memories. There are dreams that don't feel like dreams at all. They're too vivid, too layered with emotion, detail, and sensory depth to be dismissed as imagination. In them, you find yourself in a different body, in a different time, moving through landscapes you've never seen in waking life, but somehow recognize with absolute certainty. You speak in unknown languages, wear clothing from another era, and live through moments that strike your heart with eerie familiarity. These aren't fleeting, foggy visions. They're crisp, cinematic, and profoundly stirring. According to reincarnation theory, dreams like these may be glimpses into your soul's deeper memory. When the body sleeps and the ego's defenses soften, buried fragments of past lives can rise to the surface. Many have described dreaming of places they'd never been, only to visit them later and feel as though they were returning home. Others awake with a heavy sense of grief or longing, as if mourning someone they lost long ago but can't quite name. If you've had dreams that feel like windows into another life, rich in feeling, filled with unfamiliar yet intimate detail, they may not be dreams at all. They may be the soul whispering through sleep, nudging you to remember that you've lived before, and that something deep within you is beginning to awaken. Eighth sign: birthmarks and unexplained physical marks. Some people come into the world bearing unusual marks. Birthmarks, discolorations, scars, or asymmetries that cannot be fully explained by genetics or complications during birth. Within the study of reincarnation, there is a compelling theory that these physical traits may be more than chance. They could be lingering evidence of events from previous lives. Researchers have documented many cases where birthmarks appear to match, in both shape and location, the wounds that led to death in a prior incarnation. One of the most prominent figures in this field, Dr. Ian Stevenson, collected hundreds of such stories from children who recalled specific details of past lives, often accompanied by marks precisely where they claimed to have been injured or killed. While it may sound far-fetched on its own, these physical traces take on new meaning when they appear alongside other signs of reincarnation. Even unexplained aches or chronic sensitivity in particular areas of the body, without medical explanation, could be remnants of unresolved trauma carried through lifetimes. Just as the soul stores memory and energy, the body too can hold echoes of past experience. If you have a birthmark whose placement or shape has always felt strange or significant, or experience pain in a spot no doctor can explain, it might not be random. It may be the physical residue of a story your soul has already lived through and never fully forgotten. Ninth sign: repeating life scenarios. Sometimes you find yourself reliving the same situations over and over, attracting similar people, making the same mistakes, reacting in familiar ways. It can feel like a cycle you didn't choose, one you can't seem to break. These patterns often show up in relationships, career paths, feelings of guilt, fear of abandonment, or the deep urge to protect or fix others. From the perspective of reincarnation, such loops may not be coincidence, but signs of unfinished business from past lives. The soul, returning with unresolved lessons, draws in experiences that mirror what it couldn't complete before. These patterns repeat until awareness changes. When we respond the same way, the scenario returns. But when we shift our reaction, make a new choice, the cycle breaks. It's not punishment, but opportunity. If you feel trapped in a pattern without clear reason, consider that it might not have started in this life. It could be the soul's way of giving you another chance, not just to heal the present, but to change the course of your journey entirely. 10th sign: a deep feeling you've been here before. Some people from early childhood carry a quiet certainty that they've already lived, not through vivid memories or specific visions, but through a deep inner knowing, a calm, constant sense that this world isn't new to them. This feeling may reveal itself as a philosophical view on life, a lack of fear about death, an intuitive grasp of complexity, or an unshakable stillness in the midst of chaos. These individuals often say, "I don't need proof, I just know." In the context of reincarnation, this may be one of the most subtle yet profound signs. A soul that has walked through many lives gathers experience not as facts, but as perspective. It shapes how one sees and responds to life. If you've ever felt like you've already known joy and sorrow, fear and love, if you possess an unexplainable peace in the face of mystery, it may be because your soul isn't guessing. It's remembering, not with the mind, but with something far older. And that means your journey didn't begin here. It's simply continuing. Reincarnation isn't about belief. It's the quiet language through which the soul speaks. These 10 signs aren't scientific evidence, but inner signals many people feel deeply. We don't recall past lives as we recall yesterday, but they echo in our habits, our fears, our gifts, and in the strange, faded moments we can't explain. We feel, and that's often enough. Because if the soul truly journeys across time, it leaves traces. And maybe, just maybe, you've already seen them. In a dream that felt like memory, a stranger's voice that stirred something ancient, or a quiet moment when you simply knew you've been here before. These fragments, like glimmers through a veil, remind us that we are not just one life, one body, one story. We are the continuation of something timeless. If even a few of these signs have stirred something in you, something quiet yet undeniable, then maybe it's not random. Maybe your soul has walked this earth before. And this realization isn't a burden. It's an invitation to see yourself more clearly, to live more consciously, to release fear and embrace what truly endures. Because once you begin to understand that you've lived before, your relationship with life changes. You stop fearing endings. You let go of the need to hold on to what is temporary, and you begin to cherish the only things that follow the soul from life to life: love, wisdom, and growth. That is why the soul returns, not to repeat, but to evolve. So if you feel a flicker of this ancient knowing inside you, don't turn away. Listen to it. Perhaps that feeling isn't imagination. Perhaps it's the beginning of awakening. You might tell yourself it's all coincidence, that the dreams, the memories, the feelings are just tricks of the mind. But if you've made it this far, then something in you is already asking a question that can't be ignored. What if it's all true? What if your life now is just one chapter in a much larger story? You may never recall all the details, but you already feel the trace. The pull toward unknown places, the fear with no source, the wisdom no one taught you, the connection to strangers that makes no sense, except to the soul. These are not random. They are the soul speaking in its own quiet language. And if even 3 signs rang true for you, then you've most likely been here before, and you may return again. If you felt resonance, support this message with a like. It helps others hear what's been forgotten. Subscribe to After All, where we keep remembering, seeking, and awakening together. And now, a question for you. Which of these signs live inside you? And if your soul truly lived before, who were you? Share it in the comments. We read everyone. Because behind each incarnation, there is a story, and perhaps one of them is yours.